What do I think of 12 Monkeys? I'm a very great fan of Gilliam's 12 Monkeys, and aside from Brazil, I would have to consider it my second favourite of his films. Those Gilliam films from the late 20th century are mostly enormous classics, and I just adore them, with only two exceptions. Of his 20th century features, I don't love Baron Munchausen, for I do admire the production a fair bit. I've never really enjoyed his take on Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I don't consider it much better or worse than the greatly maligned 1979 film Where the Buffalo Roam, starring Bill Murray as a preferable vessel for Hunter Thompson, in my opinion. I consider it one of the more unlikable, annoying films to possibly pop on, partly or even mostly because of its overexposure, its excessive praise, and wholly obnoxious fan base, in my opinion. For 12 Monkeys, I do really love the film. It was the first Gilliam film I would see, and I just totally adored it at the age of 14. I had seen parts of Life of Brian, but not Holy Grail or Meaning of Life. If you are wondering whether I had not seen Holy Grail by age 14, I actually had not. It was just so damned exciting. The post apocalyptic, snowy, deserted city, populated with wild animals, the riveting time travel plot, the compelling characters, played by Bruce Willis, Brad Pitt, and Madeline Stowe, the compelling weirdness, the referencing and tribute to Hitchcock's seminal classic Vertigo, and the rampage of animals toward the closing of the film. Actually, funnily enough, I had seen Vertigo before I had seen 12 Monkeys, so that scene really resonated with me and improved my love for 12 Monkeys, that it was featuring and extolling the magic, which I had certainly felt, of Hitchcock's insurmountable masterpiece Vertigo. Speaking of a textual allusion to Vertigo, it is somehow not the most exciting in cinema history, excluding moments which don't directly reference or mention the text. Whether De Palma's examples count or not here, I'm not sure, but even considering those instances, is in 1981's British television film Artemis 81, written by David Rudkin and directed by a fellow named Alastair Reed. You must check it out if you have not yet. It will utterly take you for a rather unforgettable ride. My love for 12 Monkeys is immense, and it was, of course, inspired by probably one of the 5 greatest short films of all time from a man who might be one of the 10 greatest artists in the history of the film medium, Chris Marker, as many of us will know, and in some respects we could consider it, 12 Monkeys, perhaps the greatest or the most imaginative film remake of all time. I love many of Terry Gilliam's films, including Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Those 3 Monty Python films are all great, I feel, though Life of Brian would be my favourite of them, despite Gilliam not having a hand in directing any of it, compared with Grail and at least segments of Meaning of Life. Jabberwocky, gotta love old Jabberwocky, right? Time Bandits, amazing little film, isn't it? Brazil was at one stage my favourite film of all time and would maybe still make a current top 5 were I to put one together. The Fisher King, great little movie, I feel. This Work, 12 Monkeys, and I don't really like any of his films until the release of the long overdue, pretty infamous Man Who Killed Don Quixote. I quite enjoyed that film. Would like to talk about it on the channel one day, although sadly I don't appreciate any of Gilliam's films after 12 Monkeys until the 2018 release of Don Quixote. Although I will say I really like the look and general execution of 2013's The Zero Theorem. I just think the script is quite substandard, to be brutally honest, and some of the satire is flat and uninspired, in my own view. It was co-written, based primarily off of a Gilliam homage story from one Pat Russian with Gilliam. Actually, Zero Theorem was really a major disappointment when I first viewed it. I wanted to really love that film so badly. Now I can actually admire the filmic qualities of it. There was a narrative work I do like it really noticeably less. But yeah, I'm a big fan of 12 Monkeys, admire Gilliam greatly in general. I consider him one of the greatest contributors to film art of all time and to art at large from the 20th century. That's what I'll go as far to say.